Hey, what's up guys? TMax here. Welcome back to the channel. About a year ago, a buddy of mine recommended a book called Chinese Lessons by John Pomfret. And I'm not really into politics, so I didn't really want to read the book. Just looking at the cover, it seemed a bit too controversial for me. So about a year later, he decided to move away from China, and I was helping him move his stuff, and he asked if I wanted the book, and I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Along with some other things that he generously donated. So a little bit about the author. John Pomfret was an exchange student here in China in 1981. He studied at the University of Nanjing, and then he became a journalist. So he was a journalist here in China for a few years, and then moved all around the world, and then came back to China in the early 2000s, and he went out and found his former college classmates and interviewed them, and they just give a no-holds-barred, genuine account of their lives and of their opinions on everything, things that some people wouldn't normally share. And with their accounts and his personal experiences, he gives just insight on how the government and how the country has changed over the last 40 years. What I initially thought was going to be a newspaper article actually turned out to be a captivating story. Every time I picked the book up, I wanted to keep reading. Every time I put it down, it's like, oh man, I gotta finish that book. It's just really captivating. He tells it in a way that really draws you in, and you just want to learn more. You want to know more. And as someone who lives in China, I was able to see some of the observations that he made and say, oh wow, 40 years later, some of that stuff I'm feeling the same way. I have these similar observations. And he gives explanations into why he thinks these things are, and I have my own personal explanations, and it's interesting to compare with him via his book. And as someone who normally avoids conversations about politics or things that are sensitive like that, this book just really was interesting, and I really wanted to share what I had learned in the book. And the way that he presented the information was just so intriguing, especially information about Chairman Mao, who most of us have heard of, but we don't really know much about unless you study the history. And then again, what do you learn in the history books versus what do you learn from someone's personal insight? So it was just very interesting to see what this American felt, and then also what his classmates, these Chinese people, felt about the Cultural Revolution and just how their lives were changing here in China. So in addition to recommending this book to any expat who is living in China now, or who plans to move to China, or who's just interested in world politics, I also noted down some observations that John had that resonated with me, that either I've experienced myself or I thought were like, oh wow, I can't believe that. So I've compiled that list, and I want to share that here with you now. First, if you're new to the channel, thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested more about culture shock or how I feel about living here in China, check out my video about culture shock, which I call a fib nose. You'll find a link in the description below. There's 2 videos, and they're just humorous looks at culture shock, my experience with culture shock here in China. Foreigners studying at the Institute were not allowed to live with Chinese. So for me, the best way to meet them was to play pickup basketball. Introduced to China in 1896 by American missionaries. Despite its imperial pedigree, Mao loved basketball. It was the only Western sport not banned during the Cultural Revolution. I played pro basketball in Europe for a few years, so I still have my physique, and people look at me and they're like, oh, he must play basketball. And the Chinese are no exception, and it's very easy to start a conversation with someone. They're like, oh, Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan, what do you think? Do you play basketball? And I've even played pickup here, so I know that just people, they see you and they're like, oh wow, hey, I want to be your friend, you like basketball too. And it's not just men, there are ladies at the pickup games as well. So the Chinese really seem to like basketball, especially now that they've had Chinese players in the NBA, so they've had some sort of patriotism, I guess. But the Chinese people love basketball, and it was very interesting to see that this is not a new observation. 40 years ago, this was what expats were using to make friends, and we're doing the same today. As I learned first in public baths and later with roommates, Chinese would employ the skills of a contortionist to avoid exposing their private parts. One American woman spent a year rooming with a Chinese woman and never saw her legs above her knee. I've seen this as well in locker rooms and gyms, or even in the bathrooms. Chinese men are very shy, I guess, so they're very quick to hide their body parts. And not that you should be sharing your body parts, but after living in Europe for so long, where people, no matter if it's private or public, just really free with their bodies. So to go from that extreme to coming to China, where people are just like, ugh, you can't look at my body, I gotta hide. Chinese is a strange language for an American. While it has English's subject, verb, object sentence structure, the use of tones to impart diverse meanings makes it completely different. Mandarin Chinese has 4 tones, but thousands of words have the same pronunciation and the same tone, and are differentiated only by the written characters, of which Chinese employs somewhere north of 10,000. The sound li, for example, can mean 172 different things, among them present, power, pair, and profit. To clarify a word's meaning, speakers would often scribble out the character in question on their palms, using their index fingers, often with a balletic flourish, as an imaginary ink brush. I thought this was marvelously inefficient. As someone who is learning the language, who came to China to learn the language, I do complain sometimes about the way Chinese is structured, especially with the lack of letters. And yeah, every time I say something wrong, they're like, "Oh no, it's this character," and I'm like, "I don't know what you're drawing." And so when he said it was marvelously inefficient, that just struck home for me. I was like, yeah, I totally agree. And as somebody whose Chinese is not super strong, I probably still will complain about that. But once my Chinese becomes much better, I'm sure I'm gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, totally, guys. Yeah, just it's this character." So I'm looking forward to being at that level of Chinese. The American imperialists will have fried artichokes and pasta with pecorino. "I'll have bacon and tomato pasta," Song joked. Looking at me, he smiled. "I am still Chinese, we don't like cheese." I mentioned in another video, I'll leave a description somewhere, my cheese bill has tripled living here in China. You have to buy the exported cheese because they don't make cheese here. It's not real cheese, at least. So living in Europe, cheese is a staple food. And then coming to China, it's an afterthought, and probably can only find it in the big cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong. I haven't even tried to look for it when traveling to smaller places. So cheese is just so expensive, and so they don't eat it as much. And a lot of my friends who have traveled, who eat cheese, they like it. But I think just for whatever reason, culturally, they don't have the cheese here. And it's interesting to hear a Chinese person say, "Yeah, we don't like cheese." Chinese guys looked at women like Antonella in abject terror. Few male undergraduates were ever alone with female students and hadn't a clue how to put the moves on one. So when I see Chinese guys trying to approach women or talking to them, it is quite interesting. It's they don't seem to have this confidence that at least Chinese movies kind of the man's dominant, like, "Hey, you're my wife," or maybe after they're married they gain this confidence. But single men trying to talk to single women, at least here in Beijing, is quite fun. I mean, I had my popcorn just watching, this dude is just so shy and clumsy and just does it. And I don't know if the girls think it's endearing and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, he's cute, so I'll date him." But it's just it's funny to see 40 years later they still just have this issue. I looked down and saw a piece of paper poking out from under her flesh-colored underwear, more girdle than briefs. So again, after living in Europe for so long, where people are very comfortable with their bodies and fashion is super important in Europe, you see lots of thongs or unseeable panty lines, or and as a guy, of course, I'm looking at women, so you notice these things. In China, it's granny panties everywhere. Even if girls have sexy skirts or clothes on, and you just see these panty lines, it's it just doesn't go with the outfit. After having lived in Europe and seeing, if a girl has a sexy dress on, you're not going to see panty lines, or you're going to see a thong line as part of their outfit. And I've not noticed that here at all. It's granny panty central here. She had shed her rural habits, including hawking thunderously and spitting on the floor, and realized that she was not any lower, as she put it, than urban folk. So this is a woman who used to spit on the ground, which I do see a bit here in Beijing, but normally it's the men. But it's just amazing that this habit of just, and if it's one thing like to do it in the grass or a spit where nobody's gonna walk. I mean, they'll do it right on the pavement, on the steps, like in the stairwell when you're at work or at home. You just see spit everywhere on the ground in commonly walked areas, and I feel like that's disrespectful to everybody around you. But so is smoking. We won't get into that. Despite the stereotype of the collectivist Oriental, for example, Mary discovered that Chinese were often more individualistic than foreigners. This is one thing that really shocked me when I got to China. From what I learned of communism, it's, one for all, for one type thing. And the Chinese people seem very familial, so it's all about supporting each other. And of course, when you watch movies, it's, this village, they always band together to fight, the evil or whatever. So I kind of had this idea that people were going to be communal and always, putting themselves second for the better good of the community. And after moving here and experience, it just doesn't, I don't want to say it's selfish, but I just feel like everybody blissfully unaware of other people's needs or wants or desires. It's like, especially people walking with their phones, like, screw everybody around me. I don't care if the light's changing. I'm just going to walk in the middle of the street. Or, if you're trying to walk into a building, they're like, oh, I need to stop right here in the doorway for whatever reason. And I'm not going to think to move to the side, or I need to tie my shoes. I'm going to do it right in the middle of the walkway. Things like that to me are quite, I feel, selfish or individualistic. Walking into stores in the West, it's like, oh, let me hold the door open for you. Not here. It's like, all right, yeah, you have arms, you can hold the door. And if you hold the door open for somebody else, they're like, what, are you trying to set me up? What's going on here? So it's not right or wrong. It's just the culture, surprisingly, is, in my opinion, more individualistic than I was expecting. In a country where, by the age of 20, most women were engaged, if not married, the stress of finding a mate was intense, especially for women over 25, like little Guan. Yeah, so I've made friends here, men and women, and my female friends who are around my age, 30 plus, they call themselves dogs, and it's just like, oh, how are you not married? How are you single at such an old age? And it's just very interesting, and most of it's not self-pressures. They haven't found somebody they want to marry, but it's the families, the parents, like, why aren't you married yet? What's wrong with you? You need to get married and have kids and live the normal life or whatever. And you even see it if you walk in the parks. Grandmothers will have pictures and information about their daughters and granddaughters. They're trying to marry them off, which is just really interesting in a country, in a society that is not religious by nature, that marriage is so important, because in the West, marriage is a religious institution. So in China, it's not. It's cultural, and it's deep and it's strong, and it's you feel bad for a lot of the girls. As men, we kind of, our clocks go longer, but women, they have this short window, and it's like pressure, and it's like, geez, like, give them a break. Chinese by this time had shed any communist pretensions to liking their darker brothers and had returned to Imperial China's racial stereotyping that linked dark skin with poverty and backwardness. So as a dark-skinned person living in China, I'm used to getting the surprised look, like, oh, what are you doing? So I don't think too much about that. But amongst the Chinese people, it's very interesting to see how desirable white skin is. All the beauty products. It's not like, hey, make your face smoother. It's make your face whiter. Oh, protect your skin from the sun. No, it's keep your skin white by not letting the sun hit it. So the goal is this white skin. And of course, this dates back to the imperialistic time where, the royalty didn't work in the fields, so their skin was just lighter. And if you worked in the fields, you're going to have darker skin. So culturally, that's still relevant as far as beauty is concerned. So it's really interesting. I've talked about this in other videos, and I have some more videos planned about this. When it's sunny, people go outside like in long sleeves and masks and hats and umbrellas, and it's like, it's just a beautiful day. Like, I'm in a tank top and swim trunks and flip flops, and they're head to toe covered because they want to protect their skin, not from skin cancer. They don't want it to get dark. So it's quite interesting. He was in his late 30s, tall and slender, with a strong jaw, and unusual in a country where people had vowed for centuries a firm handshake. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you when the first time I shook a dude's hand and like, he limp fishes you, you're like, hey, like, this is a two-way thing. You need to grab my hand. Come on. And it's so common. Like, you just shake a lot of guys' hands and it's just really, I don't know. And bowing is not common at all in China. In Japan, it makes sense, but in China, they don't bow. So, like, why is your handshake so soft? And it's quite confusing. But then you'll meet like some girls, especially I try to meet people who are outgoing and like ambitious, and those people, business people, they're gonna have strong handshakes, and it always catches you off guard because you shake 6 hands and they're all like, no. You get to the woman and she like rips your wrist out of the socket, like, whoa, okay, I'm talking to you, you need any business, or or the guy that has the strong handshake, you're like, okay, you're gonna be the guy that I talk to, because the limp wrist guys, I can't do it. I love the practicality of the Chinese for bringing their rattan cots onto the street in the summer to sleep, and their weirdness for walking backward in the park for exercise. In the winter, I guzzled bitter herbal concoctions that promised to beat chest colds, and I avoided ice water for fear it could damage my intestines. Okay, so this is a 2-for-1. Yeah, so I do workouts in the park. In China for the last 2.5 years, I have a free workout. People just come, join, and it's all body weight. I'm a personal trainer, so I know how to adapt the movements to fit people's needs. And so in the park, I see all the different other styles of exercise, and one of them is, it's usually older people, but they're walking backwards, and I'm like, where are you going? Like, what is this about? And my Chinese isn't so strong yet to just approach somebody and ask, but one day I'm just gonna walk up to them and be like, why are we doing this? And of course, movement is good, especially when you're getting older. So I'm just going to chalk it up to the need to move, but maybe there's another reason. And then the whole drinking hot water. So I did a video a few weeks ago about Ai always recommending drink hot water. Oh, I'm sick, I have a headache, women problems, whatever. It's always drink hot water. This is the remedy for everything. But there's another step, especially for women, is they avoid ice water, cold water. And so if a woman is having her time of the month, like, she can't have ice cream, she can't drink cold water. So in the culture, ice water is a no-no. And so it's very interesting to see that this has persisted for so long. Drink hot water. In Dongguan alone, a prefecture of 1.3 million people, tiny by Chinese standards, each of its 33 villages had businesses established in Hong Kong. Yeah, I love when, you're talking to a Chinese person, like, oh, where are you from? I'm from this hometown. It's a small place, you probably never heard of it. It's only 50,000 people. And they're like, oh, yeah, I come from a small hometown too. It's only 3 million people. And I'm like, only 3 million? There's some states in the US that are that big. Countries in Europe, that's half their population. And in China, that's a village. So it's so funny. The Chinese are great people watchers. Kanzhunao, or watching a commotion, is a favorite pastime. Yeah, so moving to Europe for the first time, moving to Germany first, the Germans will stare at you. Not, saying anything. In America, if you stare at somebody and you make eye contact, they're like, oh, hey, I was looking at you. I had to say something, I have to greet you. But in Germany, like, you make eye contact and they're like, I'm just looking at you. And you're like, hi. And they're like, I don't know you, I'm not waving back. So in China, it's not the same as in Germany in the sense that they won't say hi back, but they will stare at you. But the Chinese seem to be more friendly. They're just watching to see what you're doing. And like, at least in Germany, like, they'll watch you at a distance. So then it's like, okay, you're kind of far, so I guess you're just curious. But in China, they'll walk right up to you and just like watch you. And it's like, hi. And of course, the Chinese people, in my experience, are super friendly. And so if you say something to them, they're like, oh, hey, yeah. And then they'll try to talk to you. And if they don't speak English, they'll still just like be happy that you spoke to them. But they will stare. And then it's interesting when you see people who are arguing, or if there's a commotion, people stop. Like in the West, when you're driving, there's an accident, call it rubbernecking. Here it's like, whatever's harder than rubber, cement necking, because they are not moving. They're just, I'm just going to stop walking, I'm going to stop driving so I can look and see what's happening. It's like, again, this is the individualistic thing. Like, can you move to the side and do that? So they do like people watching. The reality was that China was morphing into a society with voluminous rules and regulations that few bothered to obey or enforce. This is the thing that gets me. It's like, again, I felt coming to China, you hear about, how strict the government is, and in certain areas they are super strict. And in other areas it's like, yeah, we don't follow that rule. It's so weird because they know which ones, are enforced and which ones are not. But for me, I'm just gonna follow all the rules because I don't know which ones I can get away with until I've lived here long enough. Then I can start, doing as the Romans do. But some of the rules that just really irritate me, like no smoking, and they'll smoke in front of a sign that says no smoking with the 2,000 yuan penalty in front of it, and they're just like blowing smoke on the sign, and it's probably a cop doing it. So it's like, oh, so why is that rule even there? Just don't make it a rule. And then later you see something small, and you're like, oh, that's a suggestion, and they're like, oh, we're gonna take you to jail, like don't walk in the grass, and like 5 people pop out of nowhere if you walk in the grass, and they tackle you and take you to prison for 8 years. It's like, wow, the grass is more important than public health. So I'm still learning which rules to follow and which ones not to, but I'll try my best to follow all of them. Old Shu screeched as he veered down the street in his Jetta, driving perilously like Mr. Magoo. Okay, so drivers in Beijing, it could be green for a pedestrian to walk across, but you still need to look both ways because the drivers don't care. They don't stop. They will run you over. And it's not like, they're like aiming for you. It's just like they don't care. Or they can't see, like Mr. Magoo. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go because I'm in a car. And so, but having traveled to other cities like Xi'an or Shanghai or Harbin, people stop. So I don't know what it is about Beijing. The drivers just don't care, and yeah, it's dangerous out there. Once during a meal in Nanjing, as he recounted a dalliance he had had with a nurse, he looked at me through a haze of cigarette smoke and said, "No other Chinese man will ever tell you about his sex life." So in addition to Chinese guys being super shy about approaching girls and talking to them, none of my Chinese friends have ever brought this subject up of sex. It's just guys, and guys talk. None of my Chinese friends have ever done this. I mean, after living in Europe, you don't even know the guy. He just walks up to you and just starts sharing information. It's like, we're not friends. Like, why are you telling me such intimate details? And in China, like, you could be blood brothers, and they're like, I'm still not telling you anything. No deed to nothing. It's private. So. In many cities, the average marrying age had jumped from 24 for men and 23 for women to around 30. So again, with that pressure for women to get married, men and women are both just waiting longer to get married. So it seems like they're having to deal with this pressure longer, or maybe they just don't care as much. I don't know, but a lot of my friends that are around my age are unmarried, so they might be dating, deciding whether or not to get married, and some of them are just single and like, oh, I'll get married when I get married. So it's interesting to see this dynamic of some of them just not really caring, and then some of them like, mom's been beating me down every day, I gotta find a man. It's like, oh wow, that's not a good reason to find somebody. But I think that's kind of shifting and changing now with the newer generation. Maybe the parents are also easing up and not pressuring their children so much anymore. In spite of the fact that Chinese are generally dutiful students, China's roadways are the most dangerous in the world. In the 23 years since Old Wu's graduation, the number of traffic deaths had grown faster than China's thundering GDP to 300 a day, more than double the rate of the United States, even though China has about 1/10 the number of cars. For people between 15 and 45, motor fatalities are the leading cause of death. The World Health Organization predicts that by 2020, traffic deaths in China will hit 1 million per year. Coach Wang wasn't wearing a seatbelt, neither was Old Wu. Old Wu would glide through intersections while I prayed in the back seat. Okay, so this brings us back to these drivers in Beijing. From what I hear, the test is actually quite difficult and there's lots of steps, but maybe they don't teach anything about instinct because the drivers in Beijing are awful. And it's just like, they'll just be driving down a one-way and it's like they can't read the signs or something, or maybe this goes back to the individualistic thing. They don't care and they're like, I need to go here, so I'm just gonna drive down this street. Cars are driving in the bike lane. I mean, yeah. And this doesn't include the scooters, who are the worst drivers in the world because they don't have licenses. So, you kind of expect it. Okay, they don't have licenses, they should be terrible. But to drive a car, the ability to drive in Beijing specifically is heavily regulated. So you would think like they would be good drivers, and they're not. It's just really bad driving. So thankfully, the fatalities have come down, but it's almost a surprise. Or I couldn't imagine what it was like 40 years ago, because if it's like this now, and it was worse before. As we downed bowls of steaming beef noodles, I did what I normally do, slurp. May, perhaps because of her years in the United States, did not. I was the country bumpkin Chinese, and she was the polished Harvard girl. So yeah, Chinese people make so much noise when they eat. It's interesting. Like slurping, I know in Japan it's like a sign of respect. In China, it's not. Again, it's just, I think it's just difference in manners and culture. Like making noise while eating is not a problem. People chewing with their mouth open, like talking with their mouth full, like these are not taboo. They're not problems here. Another thing is like burping or even farting at the dinner table. No problem. Picking your teeth with a toothpick. Blasphemy. You cannot. You'll see people that cover their mouth, they do this. I don't know why this is worse than any of those other things. Talk with your mouth open, no problem, but picking your teeth for some reason. Very interesting. So, culture. Across the country, Chinese were downloading proxy servers that allowed them access to news sites such as those of CNN and New York Times, which the Chinese government blocked. So that was back in like early 2000s, 2003. We still don't have access to any of those sites, and we still have to use a VPN. So pretty much almost the entire existence of the modern internet has been blocked in China. So thank goodness for VPNs. Speaking with doctors, government officials, and journalists, I learned that by December 2002, the Communist Party in Guangdong knew it had a serious health problem. Nonetheless, it kept quiet because it did not want to scare off the millions of tourists who descended on southern China every Chinese New Year, which in 2003 fell on February 1st. Whoa, deja vu, COVID, I mean, yeah, just some things don't change. So, what do you think of these observations? Do you agree with them, disagree with them? If you live in China, have you had similar experiences, different experiences? Do you have different explanations as to why some of these things are? Again, when you see something and it strikes you as different, you would probably point it out. And if you don't think it's different or it seems normal to you, you probably don't even notice it. So now, go back into your daily life in China, see if you notice these things. So leave comments below, let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Let's go.